Hi, this is Chuck Kahn from the University of Pennsylvania. The title of my presentation is Analysis of Causal Relationships in Integrated Ontologies of Diseases, Phenotypes, and Radiological Diagnosis. I have no competing interests to disclose. Biomedical ontologies describe the entities of a domain and the relationships between them. They're a way to encode knowledge as a set of logical statements or axioms. The advantage of biomedical ontologies is they provide a form of computable knowledge that is readable both by humans and by machines, and by the explicit definitions required of them, can provide clarity to a domain and can allow interoperability among various information systems. The objective of this presentation is to explore the inferred causal relationships in radiological diagnosis among three large ontologies of medicine: the disease ontology, the human phenotype ontology, and the radiology gametes ontology, and I'll describe them in greater detail. As you can see in the diagram here, we have a causal relationship between sarcoidosis and ascites. Sarcoidosis causes ascites, or may cause ascites in this form. The term sarcoidosis is mapped to an equivalent term in the disease ontology, and in the hierarchy of the disease ontology, sarcoidosis belongs in the category of immune system disease. Similarly, ascites is shown as an abnormality of the digestive system in the human phenotype ontology. So one can use this as a way to infer relationships, causal relationships between diseases and hierarchical, high-level classifications of diseases and their associated phenotypic abnormalities. The disease ontology is a hierarchically organized vocabulary of more than 17,000 human diseases, and it's mapped to familiar vocabularies such as ICD, MESH, and the online Mendelian inheritance in man, OMIM ontology. At the top of the disease ontology is the class called disease, which has 8 direct subclasses, such as disease by infectious agent, disease of anatomical entity, disease of cellular proliferation, and so forth. And below disease of anatomical entity are a variety of organ system diseases: cardiovascular, endocrine, gastrointestinal, and so forth. It's important to note that classes within the disease ontology terms can have one or more parents. So for example, here, viral hepatitis is both a hepatitis and a viral infectious disease, and therefore one specific disease might appear in more than one subclass of diseases. So we've broken out the disease categories as the direct children of the top-level disease class. And again, those are disease by infectious agents, cellular proliferation, and so forth. And then for disease of anatomical entity, we've taken the immediate subclasses of that category as well. And so we have 19 categories in all. The human phenotype ontology describes phenotypic features of hereditary, congenital, and acquired diseases, and has more than 19,000 different entities that are organized in a hierarchical fashion. Again, terms can have more than one parent, potentially. It's a polyhierarchy. So here, neoplasm of the stomach is both an abnormal stomach morphology and a neoplasm of the gastrointestinal tract. The term within HPO called phenotypic abnormality has 25 direct subclasses, and they're listed here: abnormal cellular phenotype, abnormality of blood and blood-forming tissues, and so forth. The radiology gametes ontology provides knowledge for differential diagnosis in radiology and consists of almost 17,000 concepts that describe diseases, imaging observations, and interventions. The notable part of this ontology is the 55,000 plus causal relationships between various imaging findings or diseases and other findings. This is the website, gametes.net. And here you can see how this information can be organized. Here's an example with terms in white at these boxes at lower center. Scleroderma causes splenomegaly. Scleroderma is the cause from the disease, also a term in the disease ontology. And here you can see its mappings up the hierarchy. These are the unidirectional arrows here are ISA or subsumption relationships. So you can see that scleroderma is a musculoskeletal system disease and also an immune system disease. Those classes are both subclasses of disease of anatomical entity and disease, the top level node. On the other side of it, splenomegaly is classified both as abnormal spleen morphology and visceromegaly. And these go up the chains here, as you can see, to abnormality of the immune system and abnormality of the digestive system. And those are subclasses of this node at the top called phenotypic abnormality. So this shows how one can relate, and through this causal relationship that scleroderma may cause splenomegaly, we have an example of a musculoskeletal disease causing an abnormality of the immune system, a musculoskeletal disease causing an abnormality of the digestive system, and so forth. And here, another example, sarcoidosis causes ascites, an example of an immune system disease causing an abnormality of the digestive system. It's a way for us to map from a major class of the disease ontology to a major class of the human phenotype ontology, connecting those through the information in the gametes ontology, which provides causal information about them. So it allows us to query across these ontologies. We can ask a question, which gastrointestinal tract diseases cause an abnormality of the GU system? And what one finds is there are 25, in this case, causally related pairs linking the disease ontology and the human phenotype ontology. And here they are itemized: the gastrointestinal system disease like colon cancer and the GU abnormality. Colon cancer may cause a bladder fistula, may cause bladder neoplasm, Crohn's may cause bladder fistula, and so forth. We conducted this analysis across all of the terms in the three ontologies to see the correlations and the patterns within them. And so what one can see is in this table, all various disease categories listed along the top and the phenotypic abnormality categories listed along the left in the various rows. So for example, those 25 GI diseases, and D10 is the disease of the gastrointestinal tract. Here are those 25 pairs of disease and phenotype for GI diseases and abnormalities of the GU system. We can also look at various other disease categories. Here are genetic diseases, for example, and the distribution of causal relationships that we can see at the high level, and as well musculoskeletal system disease. Notice that, for example, in this column, the greatest number of relationships are related to abnormalities of the skeletal system, perhaps not surprisingly, but and then abnormality of limbs, abnormality of head and neck. So what this work has allowed us to do is to relate radiological diagnosis to well-established ontologies of human diseases and phenotypes. The mapping allows us to get a very high-level view of these causal relationships, and it also lets us begin to explore causal relationships between terms in the disease ontology and the human phenotype ontology. As we go forward in this work, we're looking to develop a number of teaching applications that can apply this knowledge, and as well to incorporate it into clinical decision support tools. Thank you very much for your attention.